You imbecile. On my own matrimonial bed. Have you no shame? Lara screamed, her voice trembling. The room fell silent. Sandra stood frozen, half-dressed and shaking. Tunde, her husband, could not speak. He sat on the bed, shirt half open, caught in the act. And Lara? She stood at the door, her heart burning, her world collapsing. Before we go deeper, ask yourself this: what would you do if your maid betrayed you like this? Drop your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more shocking true-life African folktales that will leave you speechless. Don't forget to comment where you are watching from. God bless you. In a vibrant African city where every street buzzed with ambition, lived a woman named Lara. She wasn't just beautiful, no. She wasn't just tall, no. She was not just a lady with a beautiful physique, no. Her beauty went deeper than skin. She was the kind of woman whose smile could soften hearts and whose presence lit up a room. Lara ran a boutique that was the talk of the town, filled with colorful, classy clothes for women who wanted to feel like queens. But that was just one part of her world. She also owned Agrofarmers Industry, a growing business that sold rice and beans in bags, feeding both city homes and rural kitchens. People called her a boss lady, but at home, Lara was still a wife. She was soft, loving, and full of patience. Her husband, Tunde, was an Uber driver. Not wealthy, not flashy, but kind, steady, and calm. And even though Lara made more money, she never made him feel less. She still cooked when she could. Still rubbed his back when he was tired. Still sat beside him every evening, sharing laughter over bowls of ogbono soup. Her home was warm. Her marriage, solid. And her heart, as soft and generous as freshly pounded yam. Lara was the kind of woman people whispered about not out of spite, but out of admiration. How can one woman carry so much grace, they often said. One quiet night, after the day's hustle had melted into darkness, Lara gently nudged Tunde awake. Tunde, she whispered, her voice soft but tired, I've been thinking. I need help in this house. Tunde blinked sleepily, turning to face her. Help? What kind of help? A maid, she said plainly. Someone who can assist with the house chores. Sometimes I come back from work so exhausted, yet I still have to clean, cook, wash. It's draining. At least if someone handles the cleaning and washing, I can focus on cooking and taking care of you. She wasn't complaining, Lara never did. She was simply pouring out her heart, hoping he would understand. Tunde sat up a little and sighed. It's a good idea, he nodded. But sometimes I do help. Well, that's when I'm home. You want a maid, where will you get a decent maid now? You remember the last one, she stole your wrappers, your gold earrings, and vanished. Lara chuckled lightly, even though the memory still stung. I know, she said. That's why I won't pick from the city this time. I'll try the village. There are still well-trained, respectful girls there. I'll speak to my cousin, she knows the kind of girl I need. And just like that, a decision was made. 2 weeks later, her distant cousin called from the village, begging her to help a girl whose mother had just died. Lara didn't hesitate. After all her prayers have been answered. She sent in for the girl. That girl was Sandra. She arrived at the compound with nothing but a torn wrapper, dust-covered slippers, and a bag that looked older than her. Sandra, this place is your home now. Just be respectful, work hard, and treat us like family, Lara said with a warm smile, her voice filled with genuine kindness. Sandra knelt, her head bowed low. Thank you, Ma, she whispered softly, barely audible. Her eyes didn't rise, but her lips curved in what seemed like gratitude. From the very first day, Sandra proved herself useful. She cooked with precision, cleaned like her life depended on it, and always carried a look of quiet obedience. She was calm, too calm. Silent, almost invisible. But Lara was pleased. Compared to the other girls she had tried in the past, Sandra was golden. She moved quickly, stayed out of trouble, and never raised her voice. She even helped little Kimi with her homework and would hum softly while mopping the floor. To Lara, she was more than a maid. She was a gift, a second chance for a young village girl to build a future. But what Lara didn't know was that she had just opened her doors and her heart to a serpent. A serpent dressed in humility. A snake that smiled before it bit. Her family continued living in peace until one day. One Friday evening, Lara arrived home earlier than usual. The business meeting had wrapped up sooner than expected, and instead of heading straight to the boutique, she thought she'd surprise Tunde. She smiled to herself as she stepped through the front door, eager to see him after a long day. But the moment she entered the house, that smile faded away, shattering into 1,000 pieces. From the bedroom, she could hear muffled voices. At first, she thought nothing of it, maybe Tunde and Sandra were just chatting. But as she walked further down the hallway, her curiosity began to grow. The voices became clearer, and then silence. The kind of silence that makes your skin prickle with dread. Lara's heart skipped a beat, and her steps faltered. Something was wrong. Her instincts told her to turn around, leave, and pretend she'd never heard anything. But she couldn't move. Frozen in place, she stood by the door, hands gripping the frame as if it could steady her. Through the small crack in the door, she saw Tunde, his shirt half open, sitting on the bed. Beside him stood Sandra, her face flushed and disheveled, her hair falling around her shoulders like she'd just woken up. But what hurt more than anything was the look on Tunde's face. Guilt. Confusion. 1,000 unsaid words hung in the air between them. And Lara? She felt like her entire world had just caved in. The woman she had trusted, the man she had given her heart to, both of them were standing there, caught in the act, and all she could do was stare. She felt her hands shake as she clenched them into fists. She didn't know what to say, but the words rushed out of her anyway, loud, sharp, cutting. You imbecile. On my own matrimonial bed. Have you no shame? Her voice trembled, laced with anger she could barely control. Tunde's head snapped up. His eyes widened in panic as if he'd been caught in a crime he didn't know how to undo. He opened his mouth, but no words came out. Sandra stood there, frozen, like a deer caught in headlights. Her eyes were wide with fear, her body trembling. She didn't even try to defend herself. The room felt suffocating, the silence stretching out in painful, unbearable moments. Lara's chest tightened. She wanted to break down. She wanted to collapse into tears, but she refused to let them fall. She stood there, tall but broken inside. You, she pointed at Sandra, her voice cracking. I welcomed you into my home. I treated you like family, and this is how you repay me. Sandra's lips quivered, but no words came. She had nothing left to say. Lara had already seen everything. Tunde finally found his voice, but it was weak. Lara, please. It's not. Lara cut him off, her voice barely a whisper now. Not what, Tunde? Not what? He couldn't explain. How could he? Lara turned to Sandra. No more words. I don't want to hear your excuses. Sandra opened her mouth to speak, but Lara raised a hand to stop her. Shut up. Her voice was sharp, fierce. You've stolen more than my trust. You've stolen my peace, my dignity, my home. Tunde glanced from Lara to Sandra, his eyes filled with regret, but it was too late. He had already made his choice. Lara turned away, her heart aching. She couldn't bear to look at either of them anymore. Everything she had worked for, everything she had built, was collapsing in front of her. She stormed out of the room, her hands shaking as she grabbed her phone. Her fingers trembled as she dialed the number of her cousin from the village. There was no going back now. She needed to fix this. No, she needed justice. Her cousin's voice broke through the ringing. Lara, what's going on? You sound. Tell me everything about Sandra. I need to know everything, Lara interrupted, her voice cold, distant. Her cousin hesitated before answering. Sandra? You don't know? Lara didn't wait for the rest. She already knew. The pieces were falling into place. Her mind was made up. It was time to teach them both a lesson they would never forget. 4 days, Lara was inconsolable, her tears flowing endlessly. She couldn't believe her mistake of hiring a maid from the village. All the other maids she had dismissed never crossed any boundaries. Stealing clothes or materials was one thing, but this betrayal was something else entirely. She had tried to help a girl in need, but now, it felt like her kindness had been repaid with pain. The next morning, Lara went into the kitchen to prepare breakfast for her husband. As she worked, her mind raced with the plan she had formed. She boiled water in the kettle, her hands shaking as the heat mirrored the fury burning inside her. In the living room, Sandra was busy cleaning, while her husband, Tunde, sat on the couch, absorbed in the television. The moment was ripe. Lara silently carried the hot water to where Sandra was and, without hesitation, poured it on her, her voice filled with anger. "Why did you sleep with my husband? Do you have any idea how much I've invested in this relationship, my time, my emotions, everything?" Tunde jumped up in shock, his voice raised in defense, but before he could say another word, Lara slapped him across the face. "You," she seethed, "are the reason why women hesitate to become the breadwinners of their families. Sometimes, the sacrifices we make don't work out in our favor." Turning to Sandra, Lara's voice was cold and final. "Pack your things. You're leaving my house this minute."